Have you ever stood at a crossroads in life where all the pressure, expectations and obligations from family, friends and society seem to weigh down on you at once? Maybe you've heard someone out of love or authority say to you, "Make a choice. Either do this or lose me." You make a choice, then agonize over it, asking yourself, "Did I do the right thing? Why do I still feel unsettled and empty even when I followed my own path?" Or on days when you're exhausted, you make a long list of plans to change your life. You swear to yourself that this time you'll see it through to the end. But the more goals you set, the harder it is to focus, the more you fear failure, and eventually disappointment sets in. You blame yourself and end up right back where you started. None of us is an exception. We've all experienced the pain of being put in tough situations, the fatigue of chasing expectations, and the wounds of repeated failure. Yet what sets us apart is not our circumstances, but how we choose to respond to them. Stoicism reminds us, your strength doesn't lie in what you can't control, but in your own choices. Peace, freedom and growth all begin with a decision within. Today, let's discover together the 7 powers of choice principles that will help you build a resilient and meaningful life no matter how turbulent the world outside becomes. 1. The power of choice, the source of the power of choice, the source of personal freedom. Personal freedom. Choice is the source of our strength. Choosing our attitude, our path, and our sense of self is how we begin to take charge of our own lives. You may have thought that freedom is only a grand concept. The freedom to choose your career, your home, or the person you love. But take a moment, pause, and listen to the rhythm of an ordinary day. This morning, you might have chosen to wake up early or to sleep in, to have coffee or just water, to send someone a word of encouragement or to stay silent. These choices may seem small, but bit by bit they weave the fabric of your life. We often wait for turning points for those big decisions that will change our fate. Yet we overlook the power of ordinary, repeated choices made every day. It's those thousands of daily decisions that truly lead the way, shape our character, and quietly transform our lives from within. Have you ever realized this? At times, everyone feels as if they have no other choice. Some days pressure and pain crash over you like relentless waves, making you believe you're just a victim swept along by life, not the one steering the ship. Maybe you've blamed your circumstances, felt angry when others set conditions, or grieved over having to leave behind what's familiar in order to move forward. Those are the moments when people feel most powerless, when they believe that every path is blocked by circumstances or someone else's will. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is it true that you have no choices left? Or are you underestimating the strength of your inner decisions? Stoic philosophy and those who have survived the depths of suffering have shown us this. Even when every external freedom is stripped away, there remains one freedom that no one can take. The freedom to choose your attitude, your perspective, and your response in any situation. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and a survivor of the Holocaust, is living proof of this truth. During his years imprisoned in concentration camps where all choices were taken away, Frankl faced the greatest tragedies imaginable. The nearness of death, separation from loved ones, and the utter denial of his personal value. Yet even there he discovered the last remaining freedom, the power to choose the meaning of his existence, the power to choose how he would feel and face his fate. Frankl wrote on scraps of paper, Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. From that experience, he developed logotherapy, a psychological theory emphasizing that our deepest motivation is not pleasure or power, but meaning, and that meaning must be actively chosen and created by each person, no matter how harsh the circumstances. Frankl observed that those who could find a reason to live, a meaning to strive for, could endure and overcome even the most extreme suffering. Ask yourself on your worst days, what do you choose for yourself? Do you allow yourself to choose peace, hope, or meaning no matter how dark things seem outside? We cannot control everything that happens to us in life, but we can always control how we respond. Once you realize this power, it's as if a quiet light begins to shine in the middle of a long night of crisis. No one decides who you are except you. No one can force you into despair unless you choose despair. And every day you have the right to begin again through the smallest choices. Choosing to listen to yourself instead of following the crowd, choosing calm over impulsive reactions, choosing forgiveness over holding on to resentment, choosing to act even when fear is still there. The power of choice is the foundation of personal freedom. It is not just a privilege, but also the responsibility of maturity. The more you dare to choose, the more you become your own guide. Life may be imperfect, but you are not powerless. True freedom begins from within, from recognizing and practicing your right to choose every single day. Personal responsibility. No blame, no excuses. 2. Personal responsibility. No blame, no excuses. How much do you believe your success depends on you, your choices, your actions, your behavior compared to external conditions? Maybe at some point you've wondered, can I really take charge of my life? Or is everything just a joke played by fate? If you believe that at least 85% of your outcomes come from within yourself and only 15% depend on the direction of the wind or on luck, then you may already hold the key to success. On the other hand, if you're used to blaming others, blaming your circumstances, or simply blaming bad luck, you'll always find yourself trapped in a loop of failure and dissatisfaction. I have a friend named Jack who lives in bustling New York City. Jack's life used to follow a familiar routine, going to work in the morning, returning home at night, occasionally snapping in frustration when tasks piled up and relationships became tense. Jack often said, "I work hard, but my boss never notices. No one in my family understands me. I can't succeed because something always blocks me." Day after day, Jack felt powerless, as if his choices were stolen by circumstances, by his family, and by unmet expectations. Then, one day, everything collapsed. After a fierce argument with his wife and a harsh critique from his boss, Jack broke down, believing there was no escape. He had tried changing jobs, reinventing himself, but every failure felt like bad luck or life's injustice. Then, in a rare, silent moment in the night, Jack asked himself, "What if I took full responsibility for my life, no matter what anyone else does, no matter the situation?" That question marked a turning point. He stopped blaming his wife, resenting his boss, and making excuses for the weather or the economy. Jack discovered the truth that Stoic philosophers had taught thousands of years ago. We cannot control the world. We can only control ourselves. The things that happen around us can be unfair and sometimes make no sense. But we always have the power to choose how we respond, how we think, and how we act. Jack learned to listen to himself, pausing before reacting with harsh words, asking himself, "What could I do better in this situation?" Choosing to focus on what he could control instead of sitting around complaining. He started to build small habits, waking up early to exercise, planning his day, writing down one positive thing each night. At first, none of this was easy. There were days when he still felt disappointed, still felt that everything was beyond his reach. But the difference was, instead of searching for reasons outside himself, he learned to face and improve himself. And bit by bit, Jack's life changed. His relationships became less tense, he felt better at work, and he became more confident in his decisions. The lesson here isn't to deny hardship or to encourage indifference to pain. The truth is, anyone can get swept up in blame in playing the victim. But real power comes from pausing, daring to take responsibility, and actively redirecting your thoughts and actions. Maturity doesn't come from avoiding mistakes. It comes from the courage to say, "I am responsible for my life." That is the first step to breaking free from being a prisoner of your circumstances and becoming the creator of your destiny. And then, when you start to live this way, something amazing happens. You no longer fear failure. You're no longer haunted by other people's opinions. You understand that every day, every choice, no matter how small, is a chance for you to become better, stronger, and freer. Take a moment to ask yourself, what am I truly in control of? Is there something I'm still blaming, still putting off? Because only when you dare to face the truth can you change. That's also the foundation to take the next step, living honestly with yourself and staying true to your principles in every choice you make. But is it easy? And how do you live without betraying yourself amid countless pressures and temptations? Let's move forward together into the next part, where you'll discover the keys to living a life that is free, honest, and worthy of pride. 3. Live honestly and with integrity. Live honestly and with integrity in your choices. In your choices. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "A person is said to have integrity when their actions align with their beliefs." This is a simple truth, but it's also one of life's greatest challenges. To live with integrity means having the courage to make choices that reflect your deepest values and principles, even when everything around you is pushing you in another direction. Integrity isn't a slogan you hang on the wall. It's found in the smallest actions, the quiet decisions you make every day, even when no one is watching. As C.S. Lewis emphasized, integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. But what does integrity look like amid the chaos of daily life, when pressure, temptation, and short-term benefits constantly test our resolve? Consider the story of Kevin, an ordinary American man struggling to balance his work responsibilities and personal desires. At work, Kevin is a middle manager at a large company. One day his boss assigns him a project with a hint: just make the report look good. The client won't check anyway. Kevin hesitates. If he complies, everything will go smoothly. He might even get rewarded and praised. But deep down, he knows he's standing at a crossroads. One path leads to convenience, the other to principle. Kevin chooses honesty. He reports the facts truthfully, fully aware that he might have to explain himself and could risk a promotion. At first, he faces scrutiny, but over time, his honesty and sense of responsibility earn genuine trust from his colleagues. His workplace relationships grow stronger. Kevin realizes he belongs to this team not because of his achievements, but because of his true values in his personal life. Kevin has also faced inner conflicts. Once a close friend asked him to lie to help avoid legal trouble. "It's just one little lie, Kevin. No one will know." In that moment, Kevin felt the weight in his heart. He knew that if he agreed, he would betray his own principles and slowly lose trust in himself. He refused. His friend was angry and distant. Yet, in the end, Kevin kept his peace of mind. He didn't have to carry the burden of a lie or live in fear of being found out. Over time, that friend came to understand the real meaning of honesty and eventually thanked Kevin for not helping him do the wrong thing. That's what integrity is. It's not always easy, and it's not always understood right away. Sometimes it costs you opportunities or relationships or exposes you to criticism. But when you live consistently with your beliefs and actions, you become stronger, more at peace, and free from inner conflict. Integrity is a process of self-healing. When you refuse to betray yourself, you keep your inner strength and lasting self-respect. Integrity is also a mirror reflecting your relationship with the world. When you're honest, you inspire others to be real, to trust, and to be courageous with each other. Stoicism teaches that every situation is a test of integrity. When the world is full of compromise, deception, or blame-shifting, you still have your own choice to live truthfully, to take responsibility, and to constantly ask yourself, does this choice align with my values? Because doing the right thing isn't just for when others are watching. It matters most when it's just you and your conscience. Integrity won't make you perfect, but it will help you be yourself. A person strong enough not to hide, unafraid of judgment, and wise enough to see the lasting path to peace and meaning. The truth is, no one can take away your dignity and your peace if you know how to live honestly with yourself. That is the greatest power of choice, the foundation of a mature and liberated life. Transform suffering into wisdom. 4. Transform suffering into wisdom. Maintaining honesty and integrity in every choice you make is no small feat. Sometimes when you dare to face the truth and live authentically with your emotions, that's exactly when the pain of the past resurfaces with the greatest intensity. The wounds from betrayal, the hurt from losing what you cherished, the failures that no one but yourself truly understands. It's easy to feel like a victim, to wonder, why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? But this is also the turning point. Will you choose to remain in the shadows, or will you step into the light and transform your pain into wisdom? Everyone faces injustice and loss. No one walks this journey unscarred or without some measure of sorrow. But the truth is, pain does not define you. You are not simply the sum of the bad things that have happened to you. You are the result of how you choose to respond, to rise again, to view the past through the eyes of maturity. Stoic philosophy always emphasizes, no circumstance can control your mind unless you allow it. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Epictetus, a philosopher who was once a slave, someone who perhaps understood injustice better than most, said this, "Perhaps the real question is not why am I in pain, but rather, what will I do with this pain?" To transform suffering into wisdom, there are 3 essential steps you cannot overlook. The first step is to recognize the source. You need to pause, observe, and honestly ask yourself, what is truly causing my pain? Is it betrayal, loss, or simply the feeling of not being acknowledged. Just acknowledge it sometimes. Merely recognizing and naming your pain means you're already halfway there. Don't run from your emotions, and don't rush to attach a positive meaning to them before you're ready. Sometimes simply admitting, I am hurt, I am disappointed, I haven't moved on is enough to begin the healing journey. The second step is acceptance and realizing that you have the power to overcome. There's a classic saying, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Everyone has to face loss and failure, but no one can force you to remain stuck there. The period of sadness is real and necessary, and you must allow yourself the right to feel hurt, to cry, to fall apart. But at some point, you must also be the one to choose to stand up, to forgive yourself, to stop blaming fate. No one can take that choice from you but yourself. The final and most important step is to commit to turning your pain into compassion for yourself. It's not just about letting go of suffering, it's about learning to embrace it, using it as a source of motivation to live better, to understand others more deeply, and not to repeat the same mistakes. Practice being present. Live fully in this moment instead of drowning in regret or worry. When you dare to face your pain with calm and wisdom, suffering becomes a valuable lesson, a source of inner strength, a guiding light for you and those around you. You can choose to let the past haunt and control you, or you can choose to turn it into motivation, into wisdom, into an inspiring story. The power of choice lies right there in the moment. You realize that you are the one writing the next chapters of your life, not your pain. If you have ever experienced hurt, loss, or failure, share your story in the comments. Sometimes that very act of sharing is the first step toward turning suffering into wisdom. And who knows, you might just inspire someone else who is searching for light in their own darkness. 5. Dare to choose. Dare to face risks. Dare to choose. Dare to face risks and new things. And new things. Someone once said, taking risks is good. Those who avoid risks are often the ones most in danger. At first, this may seem paradoxical, but it captures life's truth. Risk simply means the chance that something might unfold outside your expectations. It could go worse, yet it might also be far better than you ever imagined. When people think of risk, they usually imagine loss, failure, or pain. Yet they forget that risk also opens doors to opportunities a safe, predictable life can never provide. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you truly tried something new? How long have you postponed a choice out of fear of uncertainty? Are there moments when you quietly reflect on opportunities missed because of fear, haunted by past mistakes? Or that persistent voice in your mind whispering, what if it fails? What if I look foolish? That is a silent burden many carry, especially as we age, take on more duties, and build higher walls around our comfort zones. But if you look deep within yourself, you'll likely realize that everything you're genuinely proud of, a lasting friendship, an achievement at work, a valuable experience began with a moment when you dared to make a choice to step out of your usual orbit. That choice could have been something small, like speaking your mind in a meeting, or something bigger, like changing careers, starting a business, or forgiving someone who hurt you. This Stoic philosophy shows us that it's when you dare to face risk that you truly test your own worth. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment. Now, the real power isn't in eliminating fear entirely, but in having the courage to act despite fear. People choose to face risk based on their knowledge and personal beliefs. Some risks, deep down, you know, will lead to mistakes, and your intuition and conscience will warn you to stop. But there are also positive risks, leaps that, if you're brave enough to take them, will help you grow stronger and more resilient. These are the risks that bring experience, growth, pride, and even inspire those around you. Take, for example, the story of speaker Nick Vujicic, a man born without arms or legs who once contemplated suicide out of despair. Instead of accepting his fate, Nick chose to challenge himself. He accepted the risk of stepping in front of crowds to share his story and went on to inspire millions of people worldwide. It was his willingness to embrace new experiences and face the unknown that shaped Nick Vujicic into someone strong, optimistic, and truly happy with his choices. Looking at yourself, you may be standing at a crossroads between familiar stability and a new opportunity full of uncertainty. Will you choose safety, or will you dare to move forward? Remember, if you only do what's familiar, you'll only get the same old results. Choosing something new, even something small, is how you expand your world, build courage, and fully experience the meaning of life. The solution isn't reckless risk-taking, but making bold choices with clear awareness. Weigh your options. Listen to both your reason and your heart. And once you've identified what truly matters to you, have the courage to pursue it to the end. Practicing Stoicism, you'll learn to distinguish what you can control, what you need to let go of, and to take action instead of standing still. You may fail, you may get hurt, but what you gain is growth, inner peace, and a renewed confidence in yourself. In the end, you'll see that every challenge was worth it, because only when you dare to choose do you truly start to live. 6. Control your words, thoughts, and control your words, thoughts, and emotions. Emotions. Not everyone is born beautiful, wealthy, or intelligent, but as we grow up, we all share something in common. We each carry within us a set of beliefs and ideas about ourselves. These thoughts, sometimes clear, sometimes just a faint whisper in the mind, seep deeply into the box of our consciousness that we lock ourselves, good or bad, or somewhere in between. They slip into every word we speak, every feeling we hold, every decision we make. Sometimes a single sentence blurted out in disappointment, "I'll never make it. Some people are just born privileged," is enough to plant the seeds of failure, nurture resentment, and lock us in a cycle of unhappiness. Have you ever caught yourself thinking or saying things like that? Maybe you believe it's just self-mockery, a harmless way to vent. But the truth is, every word you use, every thought you repeat, is quietly reprogramming your mind little by little. Negative statements. "I'm just a victim. The world is unfair. Maybe I'm not good enough." Drip poison into your heart, making your spirit weary and turning your reasoning into excuses instead of action. Take the story of Eddie, a man in his 30s from America who once found success in the tech industry. After losing his job, he got lost in his own negative thinking. Eddie started telling everyone and himself that he had no more chances. Companies only want to hire the young. He was a victim of the system. Those words, repeated every day, gradually became his absolute truth. He grew irritable, impatient with his wife and kids, withdrew from friends, and spent lonely evenings with his phone and a beer. Eddie didn't realize he had handed over the control of his life to toxic words and thoughts. One day, his wife, a calm and steady woman, spoke directly to him. "You keep saying that everything out there is against you, but the truth is, you're turning against yourself with what you repeat in your head every day." That statement woke Eddie up. He tried something simple. Whenever the thought, "I'm not good enough," appeared, he would pause, take a deep breath, and say to himself, "I haven't succeeded yet, but I can learn. I can change." He consciously eliminated the phrase, "I'm a victim," from his mind, replacing it with, "I will choose to respond differently." It wasn't easy, but little by little, Eddie saw that the quality of his inner life began to change. Stoic philosophy does not teach us to control everything in life, but it does point to a supreme power. You have the right to choose every word you speak, every thought you hold, every emotion you cultivate. When you consciously choose gratitude over resentment, kindness over bitterness, you shift the trajectory of your entire day and even your whole life. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's about repeating small choices, pausing before speaking negatively, asking yourself, "Does this help me grow or hold me back?" Choosing silence over anger and forgiveness over holding a grudge. Each day, each moment, you move closer to the resilient person you want to become. You can start with small actions. Write down 3 things you're grateful for each night. Patiently listen to loved ones instead of reacting hastily. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Gradually, positive thoughts will fill your mind, become habits, and eventually shape your nature. When you control your words, your thoughts, and your emotions, you are no longer a prisoner of your circumstances. You become the architect of your own soul. But what could be more important than controlling your thoughts? It is the art of appreciating the present, being grateful for each moment, for every simple thing in your daily life. In the next part, we'll explore together why gratitude and cherishing the present are the ultimate keys that unlock true peace, happiness, and real freedom for each of us. Be grateful for the present. Cherish every moment. 7. Be grateful for the present. Cherish every moment. Have you ever woken up early in the morning, looked out the window as sunlight barely slips through the curtains, and realized your heart feels empty? As if, even though the sky is clear and everything seems fine, there's a heaviness deep inside you. You sit on the bed, your mind drifting back to the past wrong decisions, unfulfilled relationships, or simply regrets you can't even name. Or maybe you look ahead where anxiety about the unknown waits, work pressures, family responsibilities, unfinished goals, fear of repeating failures. You find yourself stuck between what's lost and what hasn't yet come, forgetting about the present, the only moment that truly belongs to you. This isn't just your story. It's the silent struggle of so many men who have lived through many phases of life, carrying hundreds of burdens, sometimes quietly asking themselves, "What is happiness? Why does it feel like no matter how hard I try, it's never enough? Why does peace seem like a luxury, something that brushes past but never stays?" Just once, try sitting still and noticing your own breath. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. Every beat is a miracle. Every morning you wake up, whether it's rain or shine, whether yesterday was a failure or a triumph, you still have the chance to choose your attitude for the day ahead. Gratitude doesn't depend on having everything you want. It's about recognizing you're still alive, still given the opportunity to love, to fix, to build, and to enjoy. Someone might ask, how can I feel grateful when everything's a mess, when I just lost my job, or when the person I love turned away? The answer doesn't come from outside you. Epictetus once said, our happiness depends upon the quality of our thoughts. This means you can choose your attitude, your perspective, even if you can't choose your circumstances. Instead of asking, why me? Try asking, what can I learn from this experience? What do I still have to be thankful for right now in this moment? What is good around me? Gratitude is like a small light, faint at first, but strong enough to cut through the thick darkness of sadness, regret, or resentment. When you're grateful, you stop comparing yourself to others. Stop being tormented by things beyond your reach. You start to see the value in small things. A child's hug, a call from an old friend, a cup of hot coffee on a busy morning, even your pain because it reminds you that you're still able to feel still alive. In practice, you don't need to do anything grand. Try writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day, no matter how small. I'm grateful for my health today. I'm grateful there's someone who listens to me. I'm grateful I had the courage to apologize or to forgive. Repeat this habit and you'll realize gratitude doesn't make your difficulties disappear, but it gives you the strength and calm to face whatever comes. And if you find that you still can't do it, if you still forget about the present, still get pulled into the past or worry about the future, remember, you're not alone. It's human nature, but you have a choice. Every time you notice yourself drifting, gently bring yourself back without judgment. Just a reminder, I am here. I still have a chance. When you start to practice gratitude, you'll see each day as a unique gift. You're no longer a prisoner of the past or haunted by the future. You'll learn to treasure every moment, every breath, every relationship, every opportunity, big or small. That's the foundation of true inner freedom, maturity, and lasting happiness. And that's the greatest power of choice, to choose to live fully, to be grateful, and not to let anything out there steal your ability to enjoy the present. The power of choice is not just a privilege. It is the greatest force that enables each person to take charge of their life, transform adversity into motivation, and build a mature, peaceful self. When you learn to live with responsibility, integrity, gratitude, the courage to step forward, and mastery over your words and thoughts, you hold the key to overcoming all external limitations. Have you ever experienced a moment when a single small decision changed the course of your life? Or are you now facing a difficult choice and have yet to find a way out? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Your story might just inspire someone else. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and keep following the next videos so you don't miss any practical Stoic lessons on your journey to mastering yourself.